Welcome everyone to the Crafty channel. If you are new here, you are welcome. Consider subscribing to our channel and on your notification bell to be informed anytime I upload a new video. I would like to thank all my subscribers for their support and always coming back to watch my videos. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. So today's tutorial is going to be the drafting of an off-shoulder princess dart bustier, and I'm going to take you step by step to the drafting. So please, if this is what you want to learn, stay tuned to the end of this video. Thank you. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. And this tutorial, I'm going to be cutting the front and the back together. So let's get started. So to start with, I'll be folding my paper into two, as you can see, and I'm cutting both the front and the back together so that this video will not be too long. So I left 2 inches for the zipper allowance. And this is the front one and this is the back piece. So I'm putting the two together and I'm going to hold it down with my masking tape so that the paper will not be moving up and down. So I'll be marking my starting line. You can take 1 inch for starting line or you can take half an inch. So I'm taking about 1 inch for the starting line. We are drafting a princess dart bustier. And I'll be taking 4 inches off the length. You can take 5 inches, 6 inches, depending on how low and how you want your cleavage to show. So I'll be taking 4 inches out. And we are going to be starting with the vertical measurement. So my shoulder to my bust point is 11 inches. So as you can see, I place the tape on this line. I minus the 4, and this is my 11 inches. I mark it here. That's for the bust point. So I'll be marking 11 inch across here so that I can get a straight line. So the next measurement I'll be taking is from the shoulder to the underbust, and from my shoulder to my underbust is 15.5, and I place my 4 inches on the starting point. I minus 4 inches. So I'm marking the 15.5 inches across and draw a straight line. Now I'm drawing my half length or the waistline, and my half length is 18 inches. So I'll be placing 4 inches off the starting line, and then I mark my 18 inches here. Next, I'll be taking 2 inches for the hemming allowance. Before I continue, you fold your paper using the largest part of your body, and the largest part of my body is the bust point. You are going to be dividing it into 4 and then add 6 or 7 inches depending on how big your fabric is. Even if you are cutting it on the fabric, it's the same method you are using. You divide the biggest part of your body. To me, that's my bust measurement. So I divide my bust measurement by 4 and I added 7 inches. And this 7 inches is for the darts and the allowance. It's good to have enough allowance than at all. So we are starting with the neck line. So next I'll be creating my neck line. And I'm taking 5 inches for the neck width. And for the neck depth, I'm taking 7 inches. Because I don't want it to be too deep. But if you want your neck to be wider, you can take 6 inches or 6.5 inches. It depends on the size you are sewing for. And I'm taking 7 inches for the neck depth. You minus the 4 inches up because we are making off shoulder. Remember that it's off shoulder bustier we are making. So you minus the 4 inches and then mark your 7 inches here. So it's about 3 inches from this starting line. I'm creating a round neck. You can create a V-neck. You can create any neck you want. So let's connect our neckline. So I create my round neck. The next step is to mark your armhole depth. And the armhole depth I'm using is 9 inches. So as you can remember, we are drafting an off-shoulder bustier. So I will place the 4 inches up on this starting line. I minus the 4 inches and then I mark my 9 inches here. That's my armhole depth. And to get your armhole depth, I've done a series of tutorials on my channel. So you can go there and watch, and I'll be leaving some links down. And I'm going to mark it also here so I can draw a straight line. So this line now is my chest line. Let me level the lines. So the next thing you'll be doing is to impute your bust measurement. And my bust divided by 4 is 10.75. You divide your bust by 4, and whatever you get, you impute it on this line. And then connect my armhole to meet this point with a curved line. Hope you guys understand up to this point. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to mark my bust points. And to get your bust points, you measure the distance between one nipple to the other nipple is your bust span. So in this case, my bust span is 9 inches divided by 2 is 4.5 inches. And you are going to add half an inch for sewing allowance. That's 5 inches. Then coming down to the underbust, you'll be minusing half an inch from what you place on your bust points. So I place 5 inches here minus half an inch is 4.5 inches. So under the bust, you mark 4.5 inches, and on the waistline, you mark 4.5 inches. Next, you'll be coming to your armhole line. And from your armhole line, you'll be taking 2 inches from here, and you'll be connecting these 2 inches points to your bust points all the way to the hemline here. So this is our princess line. So now we are going to create the bust here. On this underbust, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches. Then coming to the armhole line, I'll be minusing half an inch from these 2 inches I mark for the bustier here. And I'll mark 2 inches here. To create the bustier, I mark 2.5 inches. And from this bustier, you go to the armhole line. And on this armhole line, you'll be minusing half an inch from the 2.5 inches. And then you place 2 inches here. If it's medium size, you mark 2 inches for the dart here. If it's medium size, you mark 2 inches here. And then on the armhole line, you minus half an inch from the 2 inches and mark 1.5 inch. But if it's for small size, you are going to mark 1.5 inch here and minus half an inch and then mark 1 inch here. So the next thing you are going to do now is to connect from these 2 inches to the bust point. And then from the bust point, you create it with a curve to go and meet this point on the underbust. And from the underbust now, you create a straight line to go down. So here, you still mark 2.5 inches. Not to confuse you guys, 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches on the waistline too. So what I'm going to do now is to connect this line straight. Then I'm going to take my curved ruler to connect from the armhole line to meet the bust point. And from the bust point, I'll connect to the underbust. And make sure that you create a curve that will give you the nice bust. If you don't have a curved ruler, you can use your hand. You see how the bustier has formed, and here it's not supposed to be sharp point, so you blend it a bit like this. So the next thing is to impute our horizontal measurement. On the bust points here, I'll be taking these 2 inches from the armhole line and place it on the bust line here. Then coming to the waistline, my waist is 39 inches divided by 4 is 9.75 plus 2.5 inches for the dart intake. You see, whatever you get here as your waist circumference divided by 4, you have to add this 2.5 inches you took for the dart intake. You add it. Coming to the underbust is 39 and the waist too is 39. Whatever I have here is 12.2. I'm at 12.2 here. So now I divide all my measurements by 4. The bust circumference divided by 4, the underbust divided by 4, the waist divided by 4. So the next thing I will do is to add the side seam allowances. So guys, I'm adding the side seam allowance now. I'm adding 2.5 inches here, 2.5 inches under the bust, and then 2.5 inches on the waist. I'll be connecting it from the bust points all the way to the hemline. So guys, this is it. Cutting a princess dart bustier is very easy. If you like, you can cut the back deeper, or the front you can cut it a bit up or down, but I'm cutting the back and the front neckline the same. So what I'm going to do now is to cut it out. And to cut it out, make sure that you cut the princess line first. After cutting the princess line, because you are cutting it together, after cutting it out, then you remove the back piece before cutting the bustier. So next, I want to show you something here. You measure from here to the bust point, and then measure what you have on the second line too, on the bustier place. So here you have to extend it by 1 inch. You see here I got 5.5, and here is 5. So you extend the second dart leg by 1 inch, and then create a new armhole curve. Because if you don't do that, after joining your bustier, you see that there'll be shortage of fabric here on this side. So by doing that, all will align together. So I'm taking 1 inch up from here. Then you create a new armhole here. Because if you don't do that, you'll be shortage of fabric, and your work will be waste. So you add 1 inch here, so that after joining, you see that this one will align exactly with this. And then you create a new armhole curve like so. So the next thing is to cut it out now. Let me extend these lines here so that I can cut it exact. So I'll be connecting the neck here, because I'm cutting both the front and the back together. So the next thing is I'm cutting the princess line out. So guys, I finished cutting it out. You see how our cap formed very nicely. This is how the front look like. So beautiful. So this is how our back is looking like. So this is the zipper line. You can remove the zipper budging if you want to know how to remove the zipper budging. I have a video on my channel that you can go and check it out to know how to remove the zipper budge. So guys, our off-shoulder princess dart bustier is ready. Hope you love it. If you love it, then give it a thumbs up and share for others to learn too. We never stop learning. And also don't forget to subscribe and be part of this amazing family. I have a lot to bring out for you. Till then, thanks for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.